This is the Long War. I'm Robbie B, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher and Stephen Four. What's up, guys?
Hey, what's up, guys? Hope everybody at home is keeping it cool and icy, because you know we are.
It is, it's a nice day out today. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I was, I don't know if you heard, but I built a game table with.
I don't believe you.
So, Robbie B, if you're gonna tell the lie, you need to just go ahead and say you cut the tree down.
Yeah.
You planed it. You know what I mean? Like, it's your
First
lot.
off, yeah, I mean, you bought a truck.
Yeah.
I did. Then I selected the wood by hand, the trees.
Yep.
After meditating and talking to it, you found the best one.
Yeah, I mean, you built 3 log cabins in the woods out of the trees you cut down before you found the tree that was right for this gaming table.
You found Snow White and all the dwarves. Kicked them out.
Sent their bitch asses back in.
That's right. Robbie B, the Dwarf Slayer.
No, I'm just saying I did a lot of work today. I'm glad it was nice out. It was nice, cool day.
I can feel you right there with it, man. My business, What's for Lunch, my food truck has started back up at the local small community college that I go to Monday through Friday. And let me tell you, compared to Monday, today was beautiful. So I'm happy about that.
I've been awake since 7 in the morning, so it's hard for me to. I mean, you too, Juice, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And it's just hard for me to see the beauty in the day once that's happened.
Yeah. Let me tell you what, that is against protocol at Next Level Painting.
That is not how we do business. This is not how it's done. You know.
You gotta work late into the night.
Yep, I had to roll over to my buddy EJ's house. He's let me borrow his car while I figure out my car troubles. The Mustang is having some issues right now.
The sled.
Yep. The original Logan Grimnar sled.
Yep.
So I did get to play a game of 40K today, though rushed and fast. Only got about 3 turns in, but we were play testing, and a lot of times sometimes you only need to play 3 turns.
That's right.
For a good play test. You know?
Yeah, you can see which way the wind's blowing on that one, right?
Yeah. That's a really good point, because you want to know what? For the first 3 turns, you have a game plan. Right? Like, you go into a game with a game plan, and within the first 3 turns, that's when you need to capitalize. You can actually not test play for rounds 4 and 5, and potentially even 6, or if there's a 7th for a tournament. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, I think you can do pretty good playing that way, but I think eventually, if that's the only way you play test, it will inbreed your game to not think. Because like I've seen it happen to some of my friends, like Mark Parker and Brian Poole. And not that they're not good. Mark Parker just owned me at ATC, but I will say here, it's easier to track how many years it's been since he's beaten me than how many times he's beaten me. But gotten the shit talk out of the way. That was how they used to almost always exclusively play. They would only go to about turn 3, 4 sometimes, talk out the rest of the game. And then I went out there and play tested with them for like a couple weeks. This one time I visited, and I was like, yo, let's keep playing. They're like, yeah, but we figured it out. I think I got you here and here. And I was like, I thrive in the end game. You know, like where you've gotten lax in your game plan, and that puts me into like these desperate situations. That's my favorite part of the game. So I do think you're right. I think that you can be an amazing player by only playtesting the first couple of games, for sure. I do believe that the people who know how to win on turn 6 and turn 5 are going to win the tournament, though. Yeah,
I completely agree. I know that you can. I guess what I was saying is, for the first 3 turns, you can actually start and finish a game, or talk about it, or set up and move on, set up and move on. But you can't do that for the later rounds. You know, like you can't play.
And that's one of your things too.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rob. I'll let you go in, because I know you're chomping at the bit to talk about this. Juice always said this thing to me. One of the most annoying things to Juice is when someone's like, "Yeah, man, you got so lucky that happened, or this, because I could have done this and I would have won." And Juice is like, you do realize if you had done that, I would have done something completely different.
Yeah, that's all like perfect world, like perfect rolling, perfect scenarios. Like, you didn't roll like that one leadership where all your guys broke off the table. You know, I feel like you can't. I mean, it's good to just get an idea of how your army plays, and like maybe you want to tweak something. But I think for tournament prep overall, it's not a good idea, because you're right.
If you have a combo centric army, right, that has a million combos going off, and that's the hang up for you being competitive with it, you're totally fine just playing like 2 or 3 turns.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like psychic power. If you have a lot of psychic powers and like things that happen in different turns that you can't forget, like this war convocation stuff, like it's like the army's so strong that the only thing that's gonna hold you back is not knowing your order of operations, and I think you'll succeed there. But for the most part, I agree with you, Rob.
Yeah, and one other thing, so we don't beat this down too much, but it's really tough to try to go against or try to prep for is turns 4, 5, and 6 in a tournament setting when you're staring down the clock. Right, like that is the clutch part. It's like, man, when Kenny, if you and I are sitting at the Beats Lab and we're just like playing through this game and we're doing our thing, and you know we're 3.5 hours in and we're just like, oh, let's see what happened with turn here, and what about this, what about but when you're at a tournament setting, like what we like to do, that's the issue is when you're staring down the clock, you're looking at this and you're like, there's 27 minutes. I have to literally skip half of my things that I was gonna do, process in my brain what is the most important, and only accomplish those. And I'm sorry, real quick, but somebody who is very good at that is big fan of the show and personal friend of mine, Steve Bruley. Great to see you in here tonight, homie. Lamont is checking in. As you always know, I'm always going to ask what you're building on, so let us know. Jay Cox is saying what's up. It's been way too long since been able to come to the live stream. We're glad to have you, homie.
Well, we're also, an hour early now, too.
Yep. Let us know if you guys like this or not. For the people who watch us live, oh, look at those big arms. Black Tower Terrain checking in. So let us know how you like the 8 o'clock. We're going to potentially have to talk about maybe moving it to the 8 o'clock hour to make everybody else, school's going to get back in and make sure everybody's in bed at a decent time.
Speaking about in bed at a decent time, I wanted to talk about the first tournament I ran in about a year. At Hobbytown USA in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I guess it's my local store now. I ran a tournament for them over the weekend, and we had 15 players, odd number, but it worked out with some buys and stuff. But one of the things I noticed, we're talking about the end game, the latter turns and things like that. Is one of the things I really like as a tournament player is I like to know how much time's left in a round. I feel like you can put it up on the screen, but really, like making announcements feels like it's a big thing. So I would walk around to all the tables and be like, "Hey guys, you got 30 minutes left. Hey, start thinking about how you're going to end this. And somebody, people would be like, "Oh, well, you can just finish up your turn." I was like, "Well, make sure you both have a turn. Don't start another set of turns that you can't finish." And they're like, "Well, some people were like, hey, how should we do that?" And I was like, "Well, if you got 30 minutes left, just split it 15 minutes. You're both in charge of checking each other's time. Play for 15 minutes. Skip stuff that you don't have to do, but make sure you do the stuff you have to do. Don't sell yourself short. Is that fair?" And like, yeah, okay, cool. Because I feel like there's been some events we went to where it was like a hard dice down, and some people getting to go first and getting to go last in 7th edition, I feel is really strong. And it's like if you get that advantage and you're able to dictate that play, I feel like that's probably a little too much power in my opinion. I can't hear you, Kenny.
All right.
I think Kenny's experiencing technical difficulties.
Hold on, let me get over there.
Get Siri.
Fix Kenny's stuff. All right, I got my people on
it. Fix Kenny's stuff.
All right, so Lamont is. Oh, I'm sorry, Rob. Go ahead.
No, I was just seeing your thoughts on the whole last 30 when there's 30 minutes left, dice down kind of thing.
Oh man, you want to know what? I've done a lot of soul searching about this thing, and I was like, man, I'm not going to bring it up unless somebody else talks about it. But let me tell you, for people who know me, I have the ability to be a little vocal sometimes, or I love talking to everybody and have no problems. Absolutely having a conversation, a drink with anybody, doesn't matter who they are. With that being said, and I always much rather be nice, but when that's being said, it doesn't matter what scape of life, what I'm doing, gaming or not, if I feel I'm being taken advantage of, or somebody who I know is being taken advantage of, or anything of the sort, I have the ability to speak up and vocalize myself in a negative manner per se, whatever. But so we're playing at an event, and somebody looked at me. Now I'm having camera issues. But somebody looked at me, my opponent, and said, looked at the clock, said 27 minutes left, dice down, beginning of turn 4. We haven't even started turn 4. Needless to say, it came out of the demon came out of me, and you can't do that, guys. For anybody who goes to tournaments, Steve, you can probably attest to this. Anybody who plays competitively, like, you know, you gotta stick up for yourself. You know, when you're playing against an opponent and stuff like that, like, if he says something you don't agree with, or he this and this, like, you have got to, you know, I'm not saying that there isn't bullies out there, or isn't, not necessarily, bully's a bad word. Yeah, I'm not saying that somebody will try to do or get over wherever they can sometimes to win. Now, it happens far and few between. Believe me, I don't want to scare anybody away from the tournament scene. But please, in any aspect of life, make sure if you don't agree with somebody, just don't take it. Make sure you stick up for it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's completely unreasonable. You know, I feel like if you have 27 minutes left in a round and you guys are at the top of the round, then you split it. Like, you get 14 minutes and I get 14 minutes. Okay, yeah. I'll watch your 14 minutes go.
Yeah, and furthermore, I don't even think it should be. I think that is even a bit more. I think that, and especially only starting turn 4, my gracious, you need to be going. I can get 2-3 turns in a fat, maybe 3's a bit stretch, but you know, that's.
No, I mean, the armies that I play, I can certainly almost always get my turns in 5 minutes.
Exactly, like
until it's close combat time, then I'll do 10 minutes.
Yeah, but I would like to say something. Speak on the. I'm glad, Rob, that you brought this up. This is that social contract that we talk about. The social contract extends further from list building. It extends to painting and modeling and everything else. It extends to courtesy, showing somebody rules in a book. But it also extends, if I'm playing a model or an army with 11 or 12 drop pods or 120 orcs or something like that, it is also my duty to make sure that I get done through my phases that take the longest, the movement phase, the drop-in phase, whatever the case that is, in a timely manner. If not, I'm screwing my opponent.
It is no secret. You know what parts of your army slow down the game. If you like, and here's a big secret. I'm glad you brought up the drop pods, because obviously that was what you experienced, the story you're talking about. Drop pods take fucking forever to play. People don't realize that shit. That people are like, oh, it's an easy army, you don't have that much stuff to do. It's like, no. It's actually one of the, like, if you're playing like 9, 10 drop pods, it actually takes longer than almost any other army to play. Because while your opponent is deploying, you have that whole amount of time, however long it takes them to deploy. Then you don't have a deployment. Then it's your turn 1. Now, instead of a normal deployment, you have a deployment that takes 10 minutes longer, 20 minutes longer to plan out, because if your opponent has gone first, let's say, he's moved all his models up. Yeah. Now you have to think about how not only are you deploying, because essentially turn 1 for a drop pod army is deployment, you're thinking about how you're going to deploy and attack at the same time. Not just, well, there's really nothing I can do except hide and cover. That's literally all goes through your mind when you normally deploy, right?
Mm-hmm.
How to get my cover safe. How to not get shot at. That's it. That's all that you think about, just about. So now you're thinking about, how am I going to get my cover safe? How am I going to, like, block my own line of sight while maximizing the amount of damage I can do to him? And
yeah,
now you're going to do it. But unlike how Juice deploys, he puts his model, he puts his Sky Shield Lantern down, he puts the guys on he needs to, he figures out where his, Venom Throat is going to be out of line of sight, and he thinks about how he's going to maximize his damage on turn 1. You literally, he's going one by one. One drop pod.
Yep.
Here. No. Wait, here. Now scatter. Now get the guys out.
Now, God forbid, you're like, do I combat squad? Do I not combat squad?
Yeah.
Do I get these guys out? But, I'll do a DT. No, I won't do a DT. I got this. And that is, pre-measuring out. If I drop here, this is this, yes. And this is what people's go, that's what I see. I see the smoke and steam coming from their ears, they're thinking about it. And then that's drop pod 1. Then drop pod 2.
All of that shit we just said, drop pod 1. And if you have 5 of those to do, so think about how much longer your turn 1 drop pod assault takes than an actual normal deployment. Then you get to shoot. So obviously, as someone who's doing 9 drop pods, has 1 billion vulture shots to shoot.
Yeah, 1 billion. And now with the Gladius and all these other things, 1 billion grab shots that are twin link and everything.
So they're rolling dice twice, then rolling them again.
Yeah. Hey, how do you guys feel about this? That strike force with librarians and psychic abilities, and not even just that, if they're Ultramarines and all these different chapter tactics they get, and then on top of that with grav amps, would you agree that they roll just as many dice and they're both twin linked and
grav cannons are Tau.
Yep.
Yeah, grav cannons are Tau.
Would you agree? So your shooting phase is going to take just as long as a Tau stagnant stay still army would.
Yep. Plus, absolutely. No, that's a big thing. So remember, if you're a drop pod guy, it's an advanced army to play, man. Just like playing 120 orcs. You should have seen Mark Parker. Storm Boy is still in his email, and so is AOL. That's how long he's been playing orcs. He had the Green Tide, and he literally was like, meh, orcs, meh, orcs. And we only like were really sticklers about the first line of orcs, like where their final positions were, like after run rolls and stuff. And we just kind of like made a perimeter and threw all the orcs around on their sides in between, you know?
Yeah, I wanted to shout out to Mark Parker. I looked over. I had the pleasure to stand next to you guys as you're playing, or maybe a table down, and I just kept staring at you guys. And literally, that's exactly what I saw. I just saw, because I feel that same way with my big Termagant squads and everything else. Like, I'm literally not going to waste time, with that. So, yeah, throwing them down, doing all this, that is that social contract that we keep preaching about. He agreed to it to the fullest. In my game against Kelsey, I actually didn't even deploy Termagants. I was like, here is the first 5. This is where they would be. The other 26, or however many, I can't remember at the time, they're spread out 2 inches behind them. Boom. If it comes into play with Lamado's up, Kelsey's like, fine, let's keep it going. You know, like, that's the kind of stuff.
Kelsey's a pretty sensible guy.
That's where you have to be out with the social contract. Not everyone's there, though, because this game, the reason that Warhammer 40K is, it's the golf of tabletop miniature games. It's the most expensive and also the most prestigious. It also takes the most amount of social skill, the most amount of weight, the most amount of like ability to read situations. And unfortunately, the nerd community, which we're all a part of, is not known for its all of those things I said.
Yeah.
Correct.
So you get real big conflicts of interest at tournaments, which is why a lot of casual gamers, beer and pretzel gamers, don't want to go to tournaments, because you have to deal with all of this pressure, this bullshit, this timer, people mismanaging the clock possibly on purpose, people not knowing how to play their game, all the people who don't know how to break this contract. That's a lot of stress. Yep. Now, like, obviously, if you don't want to go, don't go. But remember, you always, for me, Juice and Rob, we can't enjoy Warhammer 40K to its maximum potential without going.
Yeah. No, I let me tell you, I've had, and furthermore, I want to say, I'm not bringing up names or anything else, but obviously it was a very heated discussion, everything else. The reason why this man allegedly did this to me, because he got dice down put on him. And that is fine. That was his statement. He kept saying it, but let me tell you what I've learned in life. Just because somebody took a shit on me, does that mean that I'm going to turn around and say, you know what, screw this next guy. I'm going to do it to him. So that's where us as the competitive people have to get, a little control of ourselves, rein it back in a little bit and say, all right, let's try to fix this situation instead of become part of the problem. I think Coach, Family Gamer,
yeah, let's say Coach just locked it down.
Said locking it down. And if anybody says otherwise, you can see him, and get locked.
I think Coach is officially the second largest arms in 40K.
One of the largest. I've self-proclaimed myself the smallest guns in 40K.
Yeah, Coach is definitely in the top the top 5 largest by
top three that I've seen for sure.
I'm gonna say that Coach is number 1 on the person of likelihood to choke you out at the table if you're a dick. So Coach is saying, guys, we have two social contract rules. 1, don't be a dick. 2, always remember rule number 1. There it is. Or there's the caveat: if you don't remember rules 1 and 2, get choked out.
Get choked out.
That's fair. I will try to remember those. But yeah, I mean, it is all about the social contract. Like, it really comes back to that. And having a good TO, having a proactive, I guess, set of rules to go by, like a proactive standardized FAQ, or somebody that has proactively responded to any questions that players have had.
House rules are the same. Follow this.
Sure.
That's what you remind me of. It's like,
but don't wait. Don't make sure you clear that before the event starts. Go ahead.
Yes. Like you're saying, like you shouldn't have people showing up and finding this information out there. This is 2015. It's closer to 2016 than it is 2015 now. You are effing up if you don't use some form of the interwebs to communicate this. A Facebook group, whatever, man.
Yeah.
People need to know these things. And I used to think that house rules were stupid, but they're not. They're just local. They're just FAQs. You're just doing doing the work. You're just doing work.
Great point. Great thing you just said there. House rules are just local FAQs. It's just they're not written down. It's just the unwritten rule of the road.
But so basically, if you want your group to be intense, write them down.
There we go. Lamont is saying he's not building anything tonight. Actually, going to save it for next week. Have minor surgery. Oh man.
Uh-oh.
I'll say a prayer for you, man. Hope everything's fine. Let us know next Wednesday at 8 how the surgery went, brother. Coach is actually coming back and want to know a little self-promotion, guys. Check out Family of Gamers 777. Get subscription now. Contest ends. There is the. I'm going to leave that up in the queue.
Oh,
so
probably for
everybody
YouTube.
Can check it out. Gnarls Coleman, great. I haven't seen you in a while, man. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out. He said he hears that the tournaments are really fun. Having gone, what it is like, it's phenomenal, man. Check it out. Sean Sawyer. Hey guys, checking in here. Just wanted to say, buddy, good old Sal. Love old Sal. Told me about us, and you joined up, and glad that you're here, man. So thanks for checking in. Yeah, any
maybe we'll see those guys in Chicago in March or April, whichever one it is.
Awesome. Okay, so Gnarls has a question. Thanks for already asking one. Do you think close combat is dead in 40K? I see Kenny's on the phone, but I will definitely go ahead and say, Robbie B, if you'll agree with this or not, I do not think it's dead. I think it's dead for some armies. I do my best to make. I'm creating NID lists left and right that have some close combat in it, but it sucks.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that NIDs are like supposed to be the apex predators of the galaxy, and they actually shoot better than they do in assault.
So 100%. We actually cannot fight in assault. We actually the only thing that we do in assault is tie you up and not let you go anywhere, for the greater good, while the rest of the big bugs go around, shoot everything, but run away when it's time to get in assault. But no, I think it's very much there. Kenny and Rob both play Super Friends. I think that is proven, and we see it in every tournament. In some form or fashion, there is Strength 10 Thunderhammers everywhere. Kenny, the question is from Gnarls. Do you think close combat is dead in 40K right now?
Coach, if your kids are close by the computer, you're going to want to shield them from this word I'm about to use. I'm going to give you 2 more seconds. Are you fucking kidding me? I literally win 99% of my... What am I talking about? 100% of the time that I win a game is because of close combat. And I win a shitload more games than I lose. Like, I haven't not made it to a championship bracket in like over 2 years. Like, close combat is your friend. It's just a very complex part of the game. And to quote an OG friend of ours, Paul Murphy, he used to always say, if you're gonna do something, you have to put like more than 50% of your total point cost into that thing, and to be good at it. Like the old days of like, oh, you should be like 60% shooting and 20%. You know what I mean? Like, no, dude. If you have an assault flare, it's literally like, how many points do I have? 1,850 points. Over 1,000 of them need to be dedicated to close combat.
Sometimes all in the same squad.
Yeah, I mean that's the most effective close combat right now is Death Stars, and that's because of primarily that's because of Battle Brother rules. That's the main reason Death Stars exist. But if Battle Brother went away, which is kind of the talk for a lot of people who are butthurt Larrys, Battle Brother, if you restricted Battle Brothers, then that just means everyone who has a good single codex with guns just wins. It just takes it again. Like the whole reason that you need a sanguinary priest from the Blood Angels to join an Iron Hands unit of Centaurians to give them 4+ Film of Pain, and then bring Drago in to make them teleport. The whole reason you need that is because these other people don't need that. They just stand there and shoot you from their own codex. You need Lookout Sir, and you need multiple codexes to become one. I think they did enough between 6th and 7th edition. Fine, Tau shouldn't be able to jump into a Space Marine squad. That's preposterous. But I think all the Space Marines should be able to benefit.
I think in the near future, Tau is definitely they're gonna give Tau some crazy stuff to really mitigate close combat. I feel like, because that's literally the only thing they can't deal with. Like, they have a ton of shooting and stuff, and they can battle brother up pretty good, but it almost feels like they're at a significant...
They're gonna get a lot more creative. Like, look at the War Convocation. Look at all that stuff. Look at the Scutari and the Cult Mechanicus. They're gonna get... Everything is about doctrines now, about cards. Actually, like, that's what you're gonna see. You're gonna see something...
That shit's getting a little hectic.
Spicy.
I think honestly, like, I mean, if we just want to prophesize real quick, like, I could really see Tau being a hybrid rule set between kind of how like the Marine books did it, where if you take the 3 Predators, you get this, you get this bonus. Like if you take 3 Hammerheads, you get this bonus.
Obviously, GW is going to keep doing that because that sells models.
Yeah, and additionally, I feel like they will also have a Decurion of some sort, some sort of craziness. But I really feel like they have a real chance to do something unique with them and maybe introduce some sort of new mechanic as far as like say call it Tempest, where if you shoot somebody with this Tempest,
the greater good.
The greater good. There's some sort of negative effect like disordered charge, or they have to charge like they're going through terrain +1 to instead of 2-inch. It's 3
they've had flechette chargers. They've had stuff like that in the past.
But they've never had a mechanic. I feel like they need a mechanic.
Stupid. We all get to Overwatch. Remember the last time I talked about Tau and I said Tau's stupid and terrible because their rules are just not creative. Like, let's just make everything twin linked and reroll wounds. Got it. That's
not creative.
That's not creative. Like the way things work now is creative. So
I'm sorry. Yeah, I would just say if you look at the Space Marines right now have the Librarius Conclave, so they can interact and do all these cool special abilities in the psychic phase. Also, they have tactics and all these doctrines and all this other stuff that basically is psychic phase that you can't stop. So I mean, if we're talking about the competitive level and the power creep and everything, like that is the premier right now. Shy of Eldar, and there's no way that anybody can ever discuss that anything is not as the most powerful book ever is Eldar right now. But I think second is Space Marines, and they have both. So if Tau doesn't come strong, because we know they're not going to have Psychers, so their doctrine and their tactics or their orders game, if we're going to say air quotes,
that's a good one. Orders game.
Yeah, it's got to come strong because you're going to be competing against armies that get those benefits in 2 different phases.
Yep, I could really see them becoming, they keep the jump mechanic, but I also see them having some sort of other mechanic too that makes them a little saucy. But I could be wrong.
Not to insinuate that I'm a charger or anything around here or anything like that, but I would like to see Juice suggest some of the questions in there, and then steer the second half of this episode toward something very exciting, which Rob had mentioned earlier, FAQs. Because we do need, to all our fans out there, and all the viewers, I'm not saying you're all fans, maybe just you're looking for information, we use this to figure out how the podcast is going to work. So we need you guys to interact with us, to ask questions and everything. We have kind of, in the first half of the show, really just let our hearts talk, but we also need to do some work tonight, and that is talk about some local FAQs and some major FAQs. So
I'm definitely hot on the tournaments, like the whole what we need to do to make the tournament scene and your local scene grow and prosper and be fun, and 100%. Bringing the hobby back to that.
Nothing's more important than that.
Evan is saying pull those switcheroo from 8 to 9, but luckily he was able to get in here halfway, so thanks, Evan. He is also saying that he's working on Blood Angel Fire Raptors. I saw that pic that you sent. Is amazing. He's working also on an Ogre Blood Bowl team. Man, that is one thing I'd really like to get into. I've heard just really good things about Blood Bowl.
Yeah, so, Blood Bowl is the heat.
Yep. So Lamont is saying TSU for Space Marines is pretty much a given. Need to bring allies and or Forge World to bring a high-end competitive list or list that can stand on their own at the top of the food chain. And if Forge World is needed, what is the one item you consider a must? I mean, it depends on, for the Space Marine chapters, I will go ahead and say my boy Sloth, Severin Loth, if he's not FAQ'd or anything else. Oh, hold on one second. Let me stop this. Kenny, let's go ahead and put this picture on him. I see some really cool looking models.
No, I didn't mean to cut off that amazing question. I just wanted, someone just said Blood Angels, and I just wanted to show you guys what I've been working on right here.
What size bases are those?
Those look like they be the big bases.
Yeah, they are.
Big boy bases.
Who's the big boy?
So I got some Blood Angels out there. Some got the gunslingers, the quad melta attacks, and I got some Iron Hands back there. This is for a commission for my boy Mike Carlin. He needs these Blood Angels in his veins. I got obviously some more stuff for the commission here. But Juice, you said an amazing thing there.
Yes.
I didn't want to cut you off.
Oh no, it's all good. You got to have Sloth if he is available for the Scorpions, but the Red Scorpions. Also, I'm a big fan, and I think with what they can have, I like the Contemptor Pattern Dreadnoughts and some of that firepower that they can give. Corn.
Yeah, with the carries, assault cannon.
Yeah, the assault cannons, if they stay still, they have all these extra bonuses, all this stuff, man.
That's a great question because the subject's gonna be FAQs here soon, and like we talked about, FAQs are basically glorified in a lot of situations house rules. And I think that question began with like you obviously need Forge Rule to live at the top, and that's just not the situation because every event you go to has its own rules.
Right. Some of them are 0-1, some of them are none.
A lot of events are 0-1. A lot of them ban them. But I do agree in a completely unrestricted environment where like 5 Wraith Knights exist, you're silly to not let me, have some of the Forge World goodies that deal with that.
Yeah, and real quick before I move on, the NIDs have always gotten the back end of the stick. Like everybody was so mad when you can toe touch terrain and get a benefit from the cover save. But who was doing that the most was Nurgle getting 2 of cover saves. Here I am toe touch and barely getting a 4 or 5, and that's all I get. Well, I will also say the same thing with Forge World. Man, like a Malinthrope. It is literally a facilitator for the army. It does so many things. It's great. I think it's really aggressively point costed, like overall really solid. But that's all that I really want from Forge World, But limiting things, it's not like this is D cannons and I'm bringing all this other stuff in. So with some restrictions, Forge World is not the boogeyman that we think, but also sometimes it is.
There's some things in there. Links is terrible.
I'd like to throw this fact out there. Forge World just got their new website last night, and there is no more 40K approved. There is no more none of that. Forge World, to them, it just says Warhammer 40K at the top. Like, this is part of our game, according to Games Workshop.
I'm completely in favor of that for the most part.
I like it. Steve Bruley answers Gnarls' question. Corn Demonkin, close combat for life. Steve says he only needs 2 phases, the movement phase and throat punch phase. Love it. Here we go. Gnarls wants to know, do you think Tau will ever get a psyker like a Kroot Shaman? I don't think so, not one bit.
Personally, yeah, I think that goes against their flair, so to speak.
They're probably
they might get some psychic defense though, because remember they are like immune to the warp.
Yeah, they had that the talismans of Artiok or whatever.
Like that's the reason that they're like the last. That's why like everyone like will be friends near the Tau.
Yeah, the talisman of Artiok. Isn't that what Indiana Jones went and got in the second one?
It's literally the same thing. And I can see there being a really aggressive anti-psyker element, because right now it's like roll 4 dice to deny the witch, but it doesn't really apply anymore. But back in 6, when you just needed to roll 1/6, it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was so solid.
So that was a pretty solid. So like the fact that like chaos can't influence them is huge, and you might see some amazing anti-psyker come out of there.
Awesome. Void Wraith Prime checking in right here. And again, Void, we're going to try to start coming around 8, starting up maybe in the future. And
hopefully it's a good time for everybody.
Yeah, let us know. If it's not, we'll take it into consideration and we'll see what's going on. Sean also says, I wanted to get your guys' opinion. What do you guys think of the Hammer of Caliban? I actually
that's the Blood Dark Angels could carry on?
No, that's the tank squadron. It's a tank. It's the Land Raider.
We like it. We talked all about it. We love
one squadron.
Yeah, we think that like what is it, like 3? You can do like it's 1 Land Raider and 3 other Predators with it.
Yep, you could take 3 Predators or 3 Vindicators or 3
Vindicators is pretty cool with it to do the super shot, and having the Land Raider on point to basically be a tank for the unit, and also have a Tech Marine in there, and maybe even 4+ vulnerable from Azrael, and even have 5 scouts in there to make it to have objective secure. We think that it's amazing and cool, but one of the strongest things I'm seeing out of Dark Angels is their Decurion.
Yeah, because it's cheaper.
Their Gladius Strike Force. Their Gladius Strike Force is insane. Especially with like Dark Shrouds everywhere, providing like 5-up and 4-up cover for the entire tank wall. Like that's pretty intense.
Yeah, and it can jink now tue and get very hard.
Yeah, like literally, like, oh, that's fine. I'll just blow up the Dark Shroud. You mean the
Cool.
Ravenwing Dark Shroud that has 2-up rerollable cover save? Let me just do the math on that. You know
better assaulted, dog.
Better assaulted. Or better have some Haywire Flame templates. That's all I'm saying. So now we got that everybody out of the way, ready for this FAQ.
You ready for a shout out, Coach, real quick? I saw he had something in there.
Yeah, we already did.
He's asking for self promotion. You did that?
Yep, we did.
What was I doing?
I did it already.
I think
you're on the phone.
You were taking an important business call.
I was taking an important business call that has something to do with my tiny dog.
Aww.
And I'm sorry I missed that.
All right, so I got 5 important things that might need to be FAQ'd. Let me know what you think.
Yeah,
Number 1, I'm just gonna say it. You fill it in.
I want this, because we always go off on a tangent. I want you to rapid fire, no pause, the 5 things, and then let me and Juice decide the order in which we want to approach them.
Okay. All right.
You ready for that, Juice?
I'm ready.
All right. Here it is. Number 5, Demonkin summoning. Saucy. Number 4, who's denying the witch? Number 3, summon this. It's the whole demonology. If you can summon, if Space Marines have access to it, Malefic rather. And number 2 is the Death from Above. I think we actually kind of proved this one, whether it's plausible or not. That Skyhammer Annihilation Force, like throwing characters in there. Mm-hmm. And Feeling Froggy, the whole 1+, feel no pain. We kind of talked about that a little bit.
Juice, do you want to go in order of easiness to dispel or hardness to discuss?
No, I figure we can go with the easiest to dispel, and obviously I think the first one we can go ahead and chalk off the list because they can check it out in a later episode is the Demonkin being able to assault the turn in which they come in. Would you
That's
agree?
actually, to me, that's a tough one because I believe in my heart that they can that they should be able to.
I also feel that way. I think it's a separate little phase before the beginning of the turn starts.
There's a subcategory of the assault is the whole can the Bloodthirster change flight modes too. That's to me the more prevalent part of that because right now the only evidence I have to support that they could assault is that like Gate of Infinity, a psychic power that says this is treated as deep strike or you use deep strike special rules, goes on to say further to that they cannot assault. So that kind of makes you believe that the reason that deep strikers can assault is because they're coming out of reserves. You know what I'm saying? But that is easy because I think 99% of people are like, yo, if you use deep strike rules, you can assault.
For the most part.
But I do believe that you should be able to, though.
Yep, that's a great point, and that's part of what the FAQ is about. You know, starting that up. So let's check out number 4.
Who's denying the witch?
Who's denying the witch? Is it now referring to the Eldar, correct?
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I would think to say that also, and we talk about so many things off air and things like this. We just need to carry around video cameras and record tape recorders, and so we can play ourselves back. But I also think that this needs to be FAQ that you cannot do what the Eldars think that they can and use somebody who's not getting directly involved with the spell or whatever else that they get to use their Deny the Witch.
I can't agree with you more, Juice. Like, I want to tell a quick anecdote since that's what we do. So it's kind of like when the new Eldar Codex came out the last time, and it was obviously ridiculous with all the wave serpents and stuff. It's like, oh, 6 wave serpents? How original. I've been playing Eldar since the beginning. It's hilarious. It seems like everybody on Earth has been playing Eldar since the beginning. And these Eldar from the beginning players, they fight so hard for the most ridiculous FAQ rulings. Like, I want 360-degree firing arc for the serpent shields. Obviously, that's a thing.
Yeah.
You know, like,
because fixed firing on a vehicle has ever been more than 45 degrees.
Yeah. Come on, man. And then you're saying, argue with me that, like, of course it works this way. You mean when Cardin the Betrayer had the same wording?
Yeah.
And then when Grey Knights had the same wording for their rule, no one even thought twice to say, well, of course, that as long as Cardin the Betrayer is anywhere in the battlefield. You mean just because there's that weird logic loop in the middle of the rule that says you must select the unit that's denying the witch, but obviously you have to disregard that rule for things that are not maledictions? No, well, technically, got it. Cardin the Betrayer denies the witch on a 2-up for the army, so I will just always make points for him in any army I play, and you shall never cast a second power. Well, that's not what I'm saying.
No, I got it. We should make Cardin the Betrayer battle brothers to every army because we know eventually he's going to betray them, but also you get 2-up.
Yeah, also you get 2-up deny the witch. So obviously, first of all you people who are like Eldar fanboys and you just played it to win, it's hard not to say this, but I don't like you.
Suck it, Trebek.
Suck it, Trebek. Like, you need to play. Like, the only way we're gonna bring hobby back is to play for the love, not to play for the win. Now, obviously, there's some of you who've been playing Eldar since 2nd edition and you love it for some insane reason. You love the wizards and the elves and shit like that. That's fine. But the other people I'm talking about, you know who you are.
Yeah. Shout out to. It's so funny is So before we move on, I'm sorry, but again, I told the people, I'm like, hey, I'm a diehard football fan, diehard. And I'm like, hey, you like football? Oh, yeah, yeah. And I look at them, and I'm just waiting for it. I'm waiting for it, and they're like, I'm a Steelers fan. And I'm like, you're a what? You're a huh? So I do the same thing as like, oh, you play 40K? Awesome. What do you play?
You just know, they're going to be Eldar.
It's like, come on. But then I immediately, under both circumstances, I say, okay, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt right now in my mind.
How long have you been playing that for?
No, where do you live at? Is that you grew up in Pittsburgh? That's all. Oh, yeah, I grew up there. Okay, never mind. I'm going to reel it back some. Same thing with Eldar. I did it to Captain America this past week. It's like, he's an Eldar fan. I was like, I'm going to wait. How long have you been playing? That's all he's played, 8 years or however long. I was like, all right, man, cool, you're with it.
Yeah, you got to make sure before you're about to put him in a signature juice. I want to recoin it because Juice is a fan of the. If he was a pro wrestler, his signature move would be the chokeslam. But I actually think it'd be more like a rock bottom.
Oh, yes.
So I feel like this guy narrowly avoided a rock bottom.
That'd be an interesting setup because he's a really big dude.
It doesn't matter. I've seen the rock bottom, the giant.
The Big Show. Yeah,
the Big Show. It has nothing to do with the size.
Yep. I just got to make sure.
It's about being electrifying.
Yeah, and I got to make sure that he's down to whenever I go to rock bottom him that he jumps in the air.
Yeah, first of all, he needs to do this.
Yeah, he needs to be able to jump halfway.
Yo, literally, YouTube knows me. Like Rob goes because we obviously the long.
Oh yeah.
We all go in there and we do our stuff and upload our videos and stuff to get everything right. And sometimes I stay logged in as the Long War, and I do a lot of YouTube. And Rob is like, you like wrestling videos, don't you?
So Kenny's current subjects that he loves on YouTube currently are Ronda Rousey, surprisingly.
Yes.
Wrestling moves the WWE doesn't want you to know about. And top 5 things about Stephanie McMahon.
Yo, those are my things.
Best 30-minute chokeslam videos.
My God!
And what is it? F5. Brock Lesnar F5 compilations. Yeah.
First of all, Suplex City compilation. Dude, I was watching this video about Brock Lesnar today, and I obviously got to go read the first 10 comments to see how other people's assholes comment on the videos, And it was like, yo, where do you get that? And this guy was like, literally, somebody was like, what is that? Like Brock Lesnar. It was Brock Lesnar hunting. And he literally shot this deer on film. That's why he got first of all, that's why he got diverticulitis, is because for 15 years all he ate was meat that he hunted and potatoes. And so this video of him killing this deer, right? And this guy's like, that's a sweet gun. What is it called? The next comment is, it's called the F5. You can buy one at Suplex City, bitch. I was like, oh my God, it's the greatest comment I've ever seen.
I gotta have it. All right, so back to number 3. Where are we at, Robbie B?
Summon this. Can Space Marines summon demons?
No, in my heart of heart.
I know. I saw somebody doing an ATC.
In my heart of heart, they should not be able to, because I think that GW has proven that they're trying to make the only people who have access to it be Chaos and Demons, because it's too powerful. For like the best demon summoner was an Eldar was an Eldar Farseer.
Yeah, correct.
Before he all by himself, just with his 3 warp charge points, can bring a unit in every turn.
Now you've got Librarius Conclaves. They can bring them in on 2 warps.
Yes. So basically, Chaos and Demons need to be the only people who can do it. That is, so you know that when the evidence is that the book comes out. The book comes out. It says they have access to Sanctic. And then what? Then you go on the digital download, and they only have access, or Demonology. Then you go on the digital download, and they only have access to Sanctic.
Right.
You go to the Eldar Codex, it says in their Codex, specifically Demonology Sanctic. So you can kind of see that, like, they kind of messed up. And then I think you said the Black Library came out, or who came out and said that they meant for that?
Yeah, no, they said they had an FAQ, that they were working on an FAQ. They messed it up.
They're saying that they messed it up on which end?
Well, this is...
They're saying, so the Black Library
said
messed up on the digital end?
Yes. They said they did not just transcribe it right from the paper book. And they promised an FAQ, but that was another thing. Like, everybody keeps promising. GW, you keep seeing these emails that, like, Forge World's like, yeah, we know it's messed up. We're working on an FAQ, and then GW's like, yeah, we know, we're gonna fix it. Like, dog, it's been like 3 months. You can put out 3 codexes, but you can't put out an FAQ. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. So I would 2 things. Steve Bruley, please let me know your thoughts on 2 things: summoning and Demonkin. Like, I know that you're a big Demonkin fan. Like, how do you feel about the backtracking a little bit? How do you feel about the Bloodthirsters being able to come in? Void Wraith Prime is coming back saying, excuse me, the summon Bloodthirster. Now, I just want to say, Void, I want to make sure that this is different than just randomly summoning something. We're talking about specifically with the Demonkin, right, Robbie B?
Yeah, specifically Demonkin, the summoning off the chart,
okay.
The Blood Tithe chart, or I guess the axe, like if they die.
Okay, so this isn't, like a normal summoning, so I just want to say this. They say they cannot assault the turn that he comes into play unless it says some special rule, but if it could come in gliding instead of swooping, as was just voted for in the ITC FAQ, it could assault the next turn. So this is the delineation that the ITC is putting out.
Well, I think that's far superior to waiting 2 turns, like having to land or having to go into the next mode and then being able to assault the next turn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You guys, okay, sorry, I was heavily distracted 1 second ago. I literally have no idea what you're talking about. I want to say it has something to do with Land Monster Creatures.
Yeah, we were just, Void Wraith Prime was coming back and saying what he thought about the Bloodthirster not being able to assault the turn. He comes in and let us know what the ITC FAQ had just got.
Did they have something special for it?
They did, but if it could come in gliding, so this is their.
They do let him change flight modes when he comes in.
Correct, but it's only because he has a special rule because of the fact that it's Demonkin.
I do agree that absolutely needs to exist for Demonkin. That the fact that it happens at the beginning of your turn lets you pick you. So the only hang up there for people who don't know how rules work was permission. It said so like in the movement. So like if you have a movement, you can do it. So you have to assume that this Bloodthirster that you brought in through the Demonkin rules has an actionable movement. He does not. So, but I believe in my heart of hearts he should. So with the permissive rule set that we talk about, this is one of those situations it needs to be FAQ'd because you can tell that GW has a lot on the plate and they didn't think about it. A Bloodthirster is functionally useless if he cannot change flight modes. The turn he comes in to gliding because he will never assault. Because it takes 1 turn to come in, you're flying. Another turn to land, then a 3rd turn to assault. So it takes 3 turns to assault somebody. You can't bring a Bloodthirster on turn 1. And if you bring him in on turn 2, that means you got tabled, dog.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's most of the time you're dropping these in turn 2 because if you're taking the blood pack, you're getting these bonus points, so you're probably going to have a surplus starting on turn 2. So chances are you're not even going to cast it or get one until turn 2. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly. It needs to be that way. Them being a little assault, that's questionable still because there's a lot of rules. But I definitely believe the minimum requirement is they need to be able to change to glide.
Well, the next 2 I feel like we've already kind of answered, kind of kind of proven them, like the one where if you can add characters to something like the Skyhammer Annihilation Force,
Yeah,
and then we did the
that, like we actually have all the page numbers and everything, and I think for the podcast we'll have Robbie be ready to spit those page numbers out to prove why you cannot do it.
Yeah,
but it takes a lot of work to get there. Like you have to do some flow charting to get to that point. So I feel like if they just came
I
out
like to
and
use
said it,
Venn diagrams because they look like titties.
Yeah.
they do. They're like
There
right
we
here.
go. Now, one I do want to make sure that we hit on because Evan had just said that he wanted to make sure he had to run out real quick, but he thinks that the FAQ needs to hit on the +1 feel no pain. The 1+, excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, a cursory look, I feel like, hey, it's not going to happen that often because you have you would have to get it off the Warlord trait, but then when you start throwing psychic powers,
that's like 30% of the time, Doug.
Right. That's so in a 5-round, 6-round tournament, you're going to get it a third of your games. But then if you throw endurance on somebody, then it starts to get a little crazy, a little hectic.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You can only do it with endurance, but like with a lot, like that list that we have. Like my Super Friends list, which I think is the greatest Super Friends list ever, which is a Iron Hands Command Squad with all Power Fist Storm Shields and an Apothecary, and the Gorgon Chain Chapter Master, which this list is in the Beats Laboratory right now. Download it. You will literally like I have a guy who's paying me thousands of dollars to build and paint it and buy the models for it because it wins games.
Yeah.
You got the Command Squad, you got the Chapter Master, you've got a Chaplain for the rerolls and Fearless. You've got this is out of Clan Rauken. So they have the old wording still, and GW said this is fine for Tech Marines. Tech Marines, you get to take them in addition to your HQs. Where in the Space Marine Code, you still get to take them as HQs. So and now they got 2 wounds. So I got two wound Tech Marines with the extra Lightning Claw for extra, so that way their servo arm stacked with that for extra attacks. That way I have 2 up saves on the flanks. Then I have 4 rhinos with 5-man squads in them, and then the librarian's conclave. I have 5 librarians on bike, melta-bombs, level 2 psyker, and force axe joined to the unit. This entire unit has +1 feel no pain, and you roll 10 times on psychic powers. That means you should get 2 powers that you want every time, which is endurance and levitate, or endurance and sanctuary, or endurance and gate of infinity, or endurance and invisibility, whatever you want. So you are literally 1 warlord trait away, which is you get to roll it and then roll it again on the Clan Racket chart. You're 2 chances for 1 roll away on a 6-roll chart away from having a guy with 1+ feel no pain. Because right now, the Clan Racken Chapter Master with Gorgon Chain has a 2+ feel no pain with endurance.
Which I think is pretty much just stop right there. Like that's still pretty good. You know what I mean?
That's still pretty good. You just have one thing to say. I have one thing to say.
Go ahead.
So a 2-up rerollable, right? Which this is not. Feel no pain. A 2-up armor save with a 2+ feel no pain is not a 2-up rerollable because it can be taken away from you. So, having said that, we all know what's the math on getting through units that have 2-up rerollables. You don't shoot them. That's the math. You don't engage them.
Yep.
Right?
You take away the feel no pain. That's what you do.
My first opinion is that a Gorgon Chain Chapter Master with a 1+ feel no pain, which is allowed, rules is written by the main rulebook because it is not an armor save. It is specifically multiple times mentioned it's not an armor save, and only armor saves say you can never be modified beyond a 2.
Right.
Because feel no pain can be taken from you when things have instant death or double your toughness. So this is not a 2-up rerollable. It's not even close to a 2-up rerollable. When second you hit somebody with a strength 10 shot or a bale sword or anything, or an enfeeble, there's a billion things that make this not work. So 1+ feel no pain, first of all, it's functionally the same thing as a 2-up rerollable. Let's get over it. A Screamer Star with a 2+ invulnerable that rerolls itself takes a billion shots to hurt. So basically, there's not enough turns in a game of 40k, and there's not enough bullets to actually kill that unit. So basically, you can't kill it. You can't kill a unit with a 1+ feel no pain. Got it. It's the same thing. It's literally the same thing, except if you're strength 10 or you have an enfeeble or you have a multitude of other combos. So it's not even close to the same thing. So first off, don't even think it's the same thing. But third off, it is completely a feel badsy. If you play somebody who doesn't have strength 10 or feel no pain, this is the thing I talk about all the time. Every time someone plays a game of 40K and says, I don't want to play 40K anymore because it's broken, that is what's wrong with the game. So this can't exist.
Yeah. So I love how you put that in there, because for everybody at home, if you can't tell, like, Kenny was passionate, and I knew that he believes in his heart that it should be this way, but because it is not good for the game and it's not this, he ultimately, that last caveat, that does it because of the feel badsies, this is what we don't want. You have to basically get rid of it. And I personally believe that you should have to get rid of it. I don't think having a 1+ feel no pain belongs. And the only reason why that I say this is it breaks rules that have been in the game for years and years. Even though this is a different edition, it's different everything, we haven't been able to say I hit at my +1 strength, even though I'm already strength 10. Doesn't matter. It doesn't make me 11. There's been so many things that have come up. It doesn't matter if I whatever the case may be. So my old schoolness of playing the game for so long tells me I don't think that it belongs. But Kenny made a great point. I didn't even think about all this, that a 2-up rerollable is infinity times better than a 1+ feel no pain.
Infinity, dog. In a tournament environment.
Yeah.
But obviously, you're going to play 2 or 3 people in a tournament that has 6 rounds that are not tournament players, which is like we're talking to the casual player who stepped up to the tournament. You go to one tournament where they let some shit like that happen, you will never play a tournament again. And that cannot be happened. That's why FAQ's rule councils need to take into more consideration. I used to be guilty of this shit. I used to say, rules is written is the only thing that matters if you play tournaments, dog. The end, right? No. Rules is intended matter. But now there's a whole new thing. Like we just talked about. Like this can't happen for the hobby. And that is bringing hobby back. So now you have to consider hashtag bringing hobby back as a whole element of FAQ rules counseling.
Man, I think this is the best and smartest, and we have the best fans and the best followers and people that chime in here and everything else. Void Wraith Prime, you, sir, are a genius. You guys are going to agree with him full-fledged. White Scar's hit and run chapter tactic is more game breaking than a 1+ feel no pain.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Like that cannot be. That needs to be like written down somewhere. That is Void Wraith Prime. That is
shocked that stupid hit and run when we went from 6th to 7th edition didn't get like I thought they were going back to the old one where it was a roll off. Like if you made hit and run a 50-50 chance, that would fix it. If it was like, okay, I'm gonna hit and run, okay, roll off. You have to beat me in a roll off. Like that would change hit and run forever. That'd be all you needed. You know what I mean?
I don't feel like hit and run's a broken mechanic though, because you've got so many of these like blobs out here that just go crazy. Like
it doesn't matter because everyone has an initiative 5 character. Back in the old days, it was a roll off.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Hit and run is absolutely unreal. Now I will say that it is a mechanic that close combat units need, right? So I'm going to go with that. Like it is to live in a close combat world, you have to have it. But so
my God, yeah.
Yeah, so like so we want to go against all the shooting because for years,
how much power?
The twin linking, the everything else, yes. But it's the killer when it comes down to it. It's not, so for example, it's the same concept of, it's not necessarily the wave serpents that were so frustrating in a Eldar game back in the day. You want to know what it was? Is you fight down to the nail, and it was the 3 little man Eldar jet bikes that were like, haha, we didn't actually need to play any of this because on turn 5 or 6, I'm just going to run away and do this. It's kind of that
go
same
50
concept.
inches and win.
Yeah, I'm going to go. So it's the same concept of why the hit and run is so powerful. It's not because your big Death Star gets to do hit and run. It's your 5-man units. It's this. It's all these little scouts. It's all these other little things that get this huge ability that will win you the game.
I agree.
Oh, man. Yo, but for real, like you kind of changed my mind a little bit while you were talking there. It's like, who was the guy earlier? Gnarls, right?
Yeah, it's 40k dead, or excuse me, it's close combat.
It's all dead. You know what? A close combat is dead in a lot of ways if you don't have hit and run, because it is actually underpowered compared to shooting, and the reason Death Stars exist is because of hit and run.
Yeah, you can't get locked down.
Death Stars are how you get through things. You know what I mean? But like, because of hit and run. But I've won a lot of games without hit and run too in close combat. So it's all about bringing hobby back, and it's all about going back to our last episode talking about hobby scores. If hobby scores exist, then I don't need hit and run on my desk. I don't need a death star with hit and run. I don't need it. I literally don't need it. I currently need it. I played a game of 40K today. I was hitting running all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like every time, man. Like EJ was like, okay, well, let's comes down to if you fail this hit and run or not every turn. If I can actually hurt you, you know, because I get to hit him how I want and then leave, and I get to go 3d6 inches, which is insanely farther than I normally go.
Yeah, you know? that is also really huge. Being able to boost out 3d6. Void Wraith comes back saying a roll-off hit and run similar to the chase down would be great. You know, the chase down.
Because that's not even a 50-50. Because cutting somebody down, you have to roll. If you equal them, you cut them down.
Yeah, you got to roll higher to get away.
Yeah.
Sean Sawyer, I will say that the 2+ rerollable jink is ridiculous. Even if it was 3-up, I am guilty of jinking even when my armor save is equal, just because of the fact you get to reroll. My bikes are just chilling there.
Of course.
Yep. No, for sure. And there's no reason not to, especially if you're going with the Dark Angels, because you're going to be able to shoot like normal the next turn and all these other things. Like
it shows you why they're so good in their bikes, man. Like they're moving around like beasts. No, I'm
born in the saddle, dog. Born in the saddle.
But you know why like Juice wasn't impressed when we're talking about a land speeder with 2-up rerollable? Because he plays an army with a bunch of haywire flame templates.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's why he's not impressed. It's also
easier to deal with armor than it is to deal with wings.
But it's also why I'm not impressed by a 1+ Final Pain. Like, I don't play an army that doesn't have multiple straight 10 attacks, multiple things that get through it. Mm-hmm. Like, every army I play has either Bale Swords or straight 10 attacks. Like, but that's why you can't be super subjective when you're talking about FAQs.
Yep. So real quick, I know we're over, but people are joining in that thinking that we were going to be here at 9, so I want to make sure we still give everybody a chance to listen in real quick and some shout-outs. Gnarls, how do you get a +1 or 1+ Final Pain? I thought the highest was a 4. Real quick breakdown is Endurance, the Clan Racken. Gives you...
you can get the Warlord trait.
Well, first off, Iron Hands, +1 Feel No Pain. That's new. That's the first new part of it. Then Clan Racken has a Chapter Master with a piece of war gear called the Gorgon's Chain, which also is +1 Feel No Pain. So right there, Feel No Pain, which is a 5, is modified by +2 on that guy. There's a Warlord trait on his chart. He gets to roll twice to see if he gets it, which is another +1, which will take him to a 2-up. Now, if you play Librarius Conclave, which you should if you're trying for this combo, guaranteed Endurance, which is a 4 Feel No Pain, takes the whole combination to a 1.
Yep.
There it is.
Pretty lively.
So Mr. Emperor is checking in. He emerged and didn't realize that it was 8 this week. Yo, just so you know, we're thinking about moving forward, doing 8 every week, so we can do the recording for the podcast and get done a little early. But now I do want to make sure Evan did put something in perspective, and please let us know here and or on Facebook. 8 can be a little hard for the Pacific time people because they're kind of rushing to get out. It would be 8 is 5 o'clock for them.
That's true.
So, famous Amos, I just saw you pop up. Glad to see you, man. We might just need to take this show on another little bit now.
How much more time do we have, Rob, for our recording?
Till 8:30.
We're gonna do a couple more minutes to shout people out and do the public service announcement that we're gonna at least try 8 for a couple of weeks first, because the other reason we're actually not gonna be getting out early. We're actually talking about adding auxiliary podcast to the lineup, to where we have our 40K podcast, which is obviously why you guys are here, the Long War. But we're also talking about doing an auxiliary podcast that's 30 minutes that is called Battles on Other Fronts, which would be about other things that besides 40K. Obviously, X-Wing is a big deal, but that doesn't mean it's only X-Wing. So we need a little bit more time to do this.
Yeah, there's a lot of games out there that are coming on strong. Like you got Imperial Assault for FFG, which is basically like the 40K version of Star Wars played on a board game.
Which looks amazing, by the way. Like I was drooling over some of the models I was able to see in person today.
Armada, Star Wars Armada is a great game. You've got some other stuff.
Halo games coming out. We're playing that shit.
Yep, the new Halo game, and then there's going to be a ground assault version of it. You know, there's
Yeah, we're
so
gonna
much
all
other
sit down
stuff
and
out there.
we're gonna start recording ourselves playing Magic the Gathering. It's a new game that just came out.
Yeah.
Just kidding,
Yes.
we will never do that.
No,
Ever.
that's not a thing.
That will never happen. Yeah, so as you guys know, we've talked about Battles on Other Fronts many times, and we've actually started doing the videos and things, so this is just another way to give the content. We actually don't want to bog down our hour podcast that we have now with too much content about Battles on Other Fronts.
If you love 40K, we don't want to bore you with some shit that's not 40K.
Yeah,
but
other podcasts will say, well, hey, you know what, just skip this 30 minutes. I know we don't want to do that to you. Like, we're dedicated to doing an hour. 40K talk, as you know, we could probably talk for 2, 3, 4 hours a week, you know, but we cut it down to an hour, and then we want to still make sure we appease and get everybody else's brains going towards that next level of playing Battles on Other Fronts.
And things like that. I actually have some. I have some toy soldiers. If you don't have some shout-outs, I have some toys to show with the class.
Please.
Ooh, please do. While you're doing that, I am. Evan has invited me to teach me how to play Blood Bowl. Evan, tell me where you live so we can link up. He says we should do Battles on Other Fronts with some Blood Bowl action.
Oh my God. Yes.
Love it. Yo, click on yourself, Robbie B. Say something.
Hello.
There we go.
Oh, you
now
can't
we can
see
see
it.
your picture.
So this is a miniature from. It's called Wargames exclusive. I actually did a review of these. They're up in the Hall of Veterans right now.
Is that
so
a female tech marine?
Yes, it is. Yes, she's pretty hot.
She's mad hot.
Yeah, she is. And a friend of the show, Lucas Sutherland, got 2 of these and let me review them. It was only like $40 for these figures. It's crazy how cheap they are, and they come out of Russia, and they're very good quality, very well casted.
There's actually a pretty sick video in the Hall of Veterans right now on the longwar.net. Obviously, we don't have to tell you guys about the longwar.net, but I just watched this video today, and I don't always watch the videos that Rob puts up because we're so busy doing stuff and we talk all the time. But these models and this website,
amazing stuff. Amazing.
Oh my God.
It's just straight bananas how cool their models are. They're it's crazy how much you can make these models, and there's all these boutique companies out here doing this stuff and just doing so amazing work. I mean, Kenny uses a lot of the stuff. He's used the Puppet War stuff and the Bitspudio stuff. You know, there's all these companies out there.
Come on,
yeah, Poodlo. I don't. It sounded a little dirty how you said it, Robbie B. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know where you buy miniatures at, but like.
I'm in the South. We talk different.
A couple, man, just rapid fire. People keep going in. I love it. So Sean wants to know one more thing. With Dark Angel, would it be possible to take something similar to the Conclave, the Librarius? I'm guessing no, but I would love to try to stick my game up against
Dark Angels,
Sal.
you can take your Dark Angels anything and then just add a Librarius Conclave. They're Battle Brothers.
But they also have their own Librarius Conclave. They're the
Which
ones that
sucks
invented it.
balls.
It's not
Don't
quite
take
as
that
good.
shit. Do not take it. No. It's not the same thing.
Friends don't let friends take the Dark Angels Conclave.
You can take a Ravenwing Command Squad with a Librarius Conclave Biker Squad in there. You can do all sorts of things.
I love it. So Mr. CEO just signed in, Sean Brown. Thanks for finally getting in. Finally, but we're closing up. We started at 8 tonight, but it sparked a memory that I was supposed to talk about tonight. BTTQ, Barely Tabletop Quality Painting Services, is up and running, and there's a Facebook page. Lucas
I need to go like it right now.
We've started it up, and we're doing a little promotion for it and everything else. So check it out. It's one of those things you can check out models and things like that. It's quit playing with gray. Get yourself Barely Tabletop Quality Painted today.
I'm looking for it right now. Oh my gosh, it's right there.
Oh, just off the top of the head. I'm basically a rapper on the side too, so I write my own stuff.
There's a bunch of pictures in here. Look at this.
Yep. Oh, Flashpoint checking in, loving the Blood Angels. So we actually showcased some Kenny's Blood Angels tonight. Had a little Dante love.
I'm gonna have this Friday. I'm gonna have a tutorial on how to paint gold, which coincidentally is also Dante. Next week we're gonna show you how to actually paint Dante from that all the way through. And then when I was recording today, Mephiston. So we're gonna have back-to-back Dante and Mephiston videos. coming out. We're going to show you how to pay red. We're going to show you how to pay gold, amethyst on Dante.
Love that you brought that up because Dan Raymond, thanks for tuning in tonight, homie. I actually realized that this was in the queue for a little bit. Wants to know, yo, Kenny, can you do a tutorial on that yellow flyer canopy scheme that you do?
Yo, literally, like, so that's a great, like, here would be something good to close on. The reason we do all this stuff, obviously, is because we love to. And we always say this. We don't do it for money, but it takes money to do this. This is a fact. You know, right now, the longwar.net is essentially battle reports that we all use our brains on, you know. Then we have tutorials on how to paint. We have reviews and assembly guides and everything like that, and we have a webcast. We talk about 40K in a podcast. So my only restriction with painting tutorials is I can only do tutorials on my commissions as next level painting because I don't, literally I need to pay rent. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a thing. We, as our viewership grows, and we'll do a Kickstarter and everything, and we have multiple other forms of payment that we take in, eventually I'll be in a place where I never have to take a commission again outside of some clutch, like, friends on the side, and I will be able to say, hey, you know what? I am going to do that canopy tutorial just because you told me to, because I don't have to make income from the 45 hours a week it takes me to paint these models. And then additionally, the tutorial and the webcast and everything else. Eventually, I'll be able to just focus on what people want. Today is not that day.
Truth. Also, last closing statement, Lamont. The best, hands down, closing move ever, bar none, is Goldberg. Spear and jackhammer.
The jackhammer. Oh my God, I hated him so much because back in those days I was NWO for life. You know, fuck
Yes.
WCW.
Yeah.
But secretly I'd go home and worship at my Goldberg shrine in my closet.
Yeah, Goldberg didn't care who you were. Everybody was getting speared.
Goldberg. Dun, dun, dun. Oh my God. Love them. I watched like 6 Goldberg videos this week.
Ask me how I know.
Yeah.
Well, guys, man, it was good. It was good running over. I'm glad that we had a chance to.
Yeah, definitely. So we're gonna try to do 8 o'clock from now on. So we hope, hit us with some feedback, see what you guys think. We'll probably do it for next week, and we'd like to hear what you guys think there, right, guys?
Hopefully it works out. If we get enough people saying no, obviously we only do this for you guys anyway. So, but we're gonna at least try it out for a while.
Yep. No doubt. All right, well, I guess that's about it for this one. So make sure you head on over to longwar.net. That's the home of the battle reports. For exclusive content and early access videos, become a veteran of the Long War today. Good night, guys.
Yay.